Roblox Pressure just had a huge update for the takeover event, and it is nothing like people expected. In this mode, we play as an Urban Shade employee fighting off a Ron Coal infection with guns. And it's probably the most difficult expedition in the game. So today I'm going to give you guys a quick guide telling you guys everything you need to know about this expedition and how to beat it. Now, of course, if you're only playing this for the takeover event, then it's probably best to play this in a group of 3 with 2 of your friends. I believe the maximum for this is 3 players. So if you have 2 friends that are in the same crew, then you probably are going to want to do it together so that you can both get points. But if you're crazy like me and you want to play it solo, then this is the guide for you, because I'm going to tell you guys how you can beat this solo. So you're going to go into the submarine and you're going to start the expedition, and as soon as you do, you're going to see a little difficulty section. So let's explain how this works. So this mode is actually sectioned off into 4 different quadrants, with each of them being more difficult than the other. And each quadrant is also represented by a certain difficulty tier, meaning that if you beat the first quadrant, you'll get the noob quest finished, and so on and so forth. Now, what this basically means is every time you beat a quadrant, that actually counts as a checkpoint, meaning that if you die in the future, you actually don't need to repeat that quadrant. This means that theoretically, if you die at the very end, you could start off at quadrant 4. The thing is, I actually don't recommend this personally, because you're actually going to start off with a lot less ammo than you normally would if you go through the game normally. But anyway, let's talk about the quadrants themselves, because the gameplay is also completely different from what you normally see in Pressure. This is not a linear door 0 to door 100 sort of thing. Each quadrant is actually pretty open-ended, and you can basically go wherever you want, but in order to progress to the next quadrant, you're gonna have to go around and kill a certain amount of revenants, which are basically just the enemies that you're gonna be shooting. So yeah, going into the game, obviously you have a shotgun. It's pretty powerful. You can also right-click to use your melee attack. This does a bit of damage, and it also stuns the zombies that you hit, so it's pretty useful. You can even use this melee attack while reloading, so it is a pretty good way to defend yourself while you're vulnerable. Also, what's nice about this mode is that you do not have to worry about looking for healing. Any damage you take will eventually be healed off automatically as long as you're not getting hit. So just try to avoid getting hit as much as possible, and you heal off any damage you take. Anyway, moving into the first wave, it's honestly pretty easy. So honestly, just shoot any infested that you see and try to loot as much ammo as you can, because trust me, you're gonna need it for the later quadrants. Also, don't forget to grab this ammo crate at the very beginning. You get a bit of ammo from it, and in my opinion, it's pretty easy to miss. Anyway, yeah, this first one's pretty simple and just kind of eases you into the game. As you're fighting the enemies, feel free to explore and loot around for any more ammo you can find. You can find ammo in drawers, lockers, pretty much anywhere. And as soon as you defeat all of the enemies, you'll see that you can actually explore the quadrant all you want. So theoretically, you could go through every single room and just get a bunch of ammo. In most cases, this isn't really necessary, but if you find yourself very low on ammo at the end of a quadrant, then this is a great way to get more out of it. And also at the very end of the quadrant, you'll have a safe room. This safe room will always have the defibrillator, which is very useful if you're playing in multiplayer. And you can also get up to 48 bullets in this safe room from these crates. There's one crate right next to the defibrillator, and there's also another crate with 12 extra bullets in the bathroom shower. Anyway, once you're all ready, you can go ahead and flip this switch to move on to the next quadrant. Just keep in mind that once you flip this lever, you will not be able to return to the previous quadrant. Anyway, so now you're in quadrant 2, which is medium mode. So now's probably a good time to talk about some of the special enemies that you might face. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory, but I am going to quickly go through them so that you know how to deal with them. I don't think I'm going to go through every single one of them, but I am going to bring up the ones that I had trouble with and that I've seen other people have trouble with. Now, first off, we have these turret enemies. These are basically enemies that also have turrets attached to their heads, and if they see you, they're going to start shooting at you, and they can deplete your health pretty quickly. But they're also pretty slow, so just try to run around them and, you know, shoot them in the back, and you should be fine. We also have this very big and tall enemy. This guy is pretty slow, but he has a lot of HP and does pack a punch. Now, once he runs near you, he is going to lunge forward and try to attack you. You can bait out this attack and then use your melee to do a lot of damage and then follow up with some shooting. But again, keep in mind, you're probably going to waste a lot of ammo on these guys. They just have a lot of health. There's also this bomb enemy that you might occasionally see. These guys are going to run straight towards you and try to explode, and this explosion actually stuns you and unequips your gun. So yeah, keep your distance from these guys and try to shoot them from afar if you can. If they do chase you, you're gonna need to run. And the last enemy that I think can be pretty threatening is this big ghost enemy. This guy will glitch and darken your screen and slowly make his way towards you, and he is actually a one-shot if he gets you, and he is very similar to another character in the game, so that's a lot of lore implications right there. We're gonna make some shorts on that one later. But anyway, surprisingly enough, you can actually kill this being just by shooting them. Just shoot this guy 3 times and he should be dead. I don't think you can melee this guy. I don't recommend trying because again, if he gets you, it's a one-shot. Anyway, this medium quadrant is still not too bad, so feel free to explore, loot what you can, just walk around the rooms. And again, it's at this point where I would try to get as much ammo as you can because in my opinion, I think you're gonna need it for later. In fact, let's talk about why you'll need it later over at Quadrant 3. So this is the hard mode wave of enemies. You're gonna have to defeat 125 of these guys in order to make it to the 4th and final quadrant. And this is the point of the game where you might actually want to camp. You might just want to stay at the very start of the area and just wait for the enemies to spawn, you know, let them make their way towards you. Because surprisingly enough, even though there are a lot of rooms, all of the infested can actually spawn in one single room. The problem with this strategy, however, is that because you're not really going through the rooms, you're probably not going to find a lot of ammo. Meaning, yeah, you're probably going to need a bit of ammo ahead of time. So there's 125 enemies for this quadrant, so if you're going to do this strategy, I would say you probably need 175 to 200 bullets before you get into the quadrant. If you don't have enough bullets, you also have a melee attack which can kill quite a few zombies, and you can also still loot around in quite a few rooms. I would not go through a bunch of different rooms because then the zombies can just spawn anywhere and it's going to get pretty overwhelming, but you can make your way through quite a few rooms and be pretty okay. So once you're done with Quadrant 3, you're probably going to want to start stocking up on more ammunition. We are going to the 4th and final quadrant and you're gonna need it. I would say to stock up somewhere around 225 to 250 bullets. And once you're ready, you can go ahead and move on to the 4th and final quadrant. Okay, so welcome to the 4th quadrant. This one has 175 enemies and they spawn constantly. On top of that, every single room in this quadrant is dark. Yeah, you're gonna want to camp here. This is why I said to get this many bullets. If you go through and try to explore and loot this quadrant without knowing where to go, you're probably gonna die. It's better to just stay in one area and let the enemies come to you. This starting room is your only room with light and you're gonna want to stay here as much as you can. Just let the zombies come to you and just play defensively. Think of it more as a sit and survive sort of game. Unfortunately, this is not really gonna work for the boss fight, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, of course, you are still only fighting in one room, so if things do get a bit overwhelming, you can backtrack to the airlock room and, you know, give yourself a bit more space. Anyway, once you've finally defeated all 175 enemies, you can make your way to the boss fight. You actually do get another safe room beforehand, so it can kind of be considered a 5th quadrant. Although in order to get the expert badge, you do need to beat the 4th quadrant and the boss fight consecutively. Honestly, with the way the boss fight is designed, I would argue that you don't need as many bullets for the boss fight as you do for quadrant 4. I would say probably 150 to 175 bullets is more than enough. The game does give you bullets over time throughout the boss fight. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. So the final challenge for this expedition is a boss fight against the heart. In order to defeat this, you're gonna need to activate 5 different levers, and you're gonna need to make your way through this room, getting to all the levers while a bunch of zombies chase you. Now, unlike the normal quadrants where you only had to beat a certain amount of zombies, this area is going to infinitely spawn enemies, and they are going to spawn a lot of them very quickly, and you're probably gonna get very overwhelmed. There's really no use in fighting most of them, to be honest, because they spawn infinitely and you're just wasting resources. So honestly, in most cases, you're just gonna have to run. And I would actually say the most important thing about this final section is to know where to go. Because what I found is that if you take a single wrong turn and you need to turn around, that you are going to get swarmed by enemies and you are gone. So the most important thing here is knowing the route to get out of here, because one wrong move and you're dead. Again, I would think of this like a chase sequence. Now, luckily, Zeal has confirmed that there is going to be a patch that doesn't really nerf the difficulty, but it is going to make it a bit easier to know where to go specifically. So hopefully by the time you're watching this, that might already be a thing. But in case that isn't the case, then you're just going to need to watch this and see where I go specifically. And just try to memorize the route as much as you can. So going into the boss room, the first lever is pretty free. It's just right in front of you. So the boss fight starts as soon as you flip the first lever, and then you need to make your way to the other 4. And now you make your way to the first chase sequence. You got a staircase at the start, so you go ahead and climb up that, and then you take the first possible exit. Do not continue going all the way up on the staircase, because that will result in a a dead end. So as soon as you go up the staircase, you have to go up 2 sets of stairs and then immediately exit. Then you just make your way up some inclines. It's pretty self-explanatory to see where to go here. Now, you are running away from the zombies and you want to leave them alone in most cases, but you do want to watch your back because there are zombies that can run very, very quickly, and I think they're faster than even your running speed. So you do want to look behind a lot and see if there are any fast zombies chasing you and just very quickly take them out. It only takes 1 bullet to kill them, really. You can also melee them if you are desperate. Again, melee does stun, so if you are reloading, then you can quickly just melee any of the quick zombies, and that should buy you a bit of time. But you also need to watch where you're going, not only because you need to make sure you're going the right way, but there are also going to be zombies spawning in front of you. There shouldn't be too many of them. A majority of the zombies should be behind you, but you do need to keep that in mind. But like I said, keep moving, watch your back, and just try to get rid of the quick zombies. Any other zombies behind you, just ignore them. They are not worth fighting, and if you try to fight them, you're gonna get swarmed. So just keep going if you can. Anyway, keep making your way through here, and you're gonna find your first safe room for the boss fight, which contains a lever. So you're gonna want to quickly activate that lever to close the door, and then you're probably gonna see some stragglers actually clip through the door. It shouldn't be too many zombies, but you are probably gonna see some in your safe room, and you're just gonna want to very quickly take them out. This is your time to fight. You're not gonna be constantly chased right now. So just kill off the zombies in this room and give yourself a bit of a break. You'll see an ammo crate giving you tons of bullets. Make sure you're all healed up and make sure you have all your stamina. And when you're ready, you can make your way through the second stretch of enemies. And I would say this one is probably the easiest. All you have to do is go ahead and climb up these rocks. You can follow the green lights to see where to go. And then you have a very long staircase. And honestly, the zombie AI doesn't really handle these staircases that well. So as long as you're not stuck on staircases, they can be very useful. So you just climb up that staircase, and there you go. You're in the next room. Very quick, very easy. Again, take care of any stragglers that end up in your safe room, and then go ahead and take a breath and get ready for the third stretch of enemies, because this one is probably the hardest. So you're gonna start off with climbing a bit of rocks, and then you enter this doorway here, and then you climb up a stairway. You'll probably see some zombies in front of you, so take care of those. Again, keep watching your back. Once you're done with the stairs, you're gonna end up in this very long hallway. Again, one wrong turn here and you're probably cooked. So just try to follow the route as much as you can. You're gonna want to start off with taking a right here. You're gonna see some zombies in front of you. Just try to get rid of them. You're gonna see another Ron Coral area with a lot of zombies. Try not to get stuck like I did. If you do get stuck, just try to pull your way out. Try to shoot through the enemies if you can. At the next fork, you're gonna want to take another right into the Ron Coral. Just try to make your way through it. After that, you got a bit of a straightaway. This should give you a chance to get away from some of the zombies. Once you find another fork in the road, again, you're gonna want to go into the Ron Coral. So this time, you're gonna want to take a left, and that will give you the exit through that hallway. And now you're back out in the outside area. You're gonna want to take a left, and you're gonna want to make your way up this, I guess, rotten coral staircase. I don't even know what this is, but try to make your way up. And as soon as you're at the top, you're gonna want to take a right. From there should be a light showing you where your safe door is, and you're gonna want to go ahead and open that, and then go ahead and flip that lever. Take care of the stragglers like always. You're almost at the end here. This is the final stretch of enemies. In my opinion, this one is a little bit easier than the one we just went through. You're gonna want to immediately take a left and enter this door, and then we have yet another hallway. This one doesn't have as many split paths though. This one is a bit more linear, so you don't need to worry as much about going the wrong way. So just make your way through this hallway. You're going to see some Ron Corals spawning in some zombies. Just try to get rid of them like always. There is one fork in the road at the very end, and you're going to want to take the rightmost path. I do go around the box here, but that is fine. And then you're back in the outside area where once again, you need to climb these rocks. Try to stay to the left if you can. I think in my footage, I was actually really close to falling off. So try not to do what I almost did. And you're going to see the path to continue climbing is on the left. Once you make your way through the top, you are going to have to go through a bit more Ron Coral. So just keep going up, keep following the path, and now you are at the highest most point. Go ahead and make a right. You have a little bit of a catwalk. This should give you some leeway. Enter the room and go ahead and flip the final switch. Now, once you flip this final switch, you're actually not done yet because you have to wait for the drill to activate. So from this point, once you're in this room, all you need to do is survive. A lot of zombies are going to start spawning, but you just need to survive for as long as you can. First and foremost, take out the stragglers that were following you, And at the very bottom of the stairs, you're actually going to get a bunch of ammo. And now is when you need to give it all you got. I like to stay at the bottom of the stairs personally, but do whatever is best for you. But yeah, just survive for as long as you can, and eventually the drill should activate. Once that happens, once that light from the drill turns on, all of the zombies will stop spawning. So go ahead and take out any remaining zombies and you are done. Go ahead and take the exit elevator and you will get yourself the expert quest. There is a lot of enemy spam here. It is insane. But if you memorize the route and just, you know, watch your back and your front, this is somewhat manageable in my opinion. I've beaten it solo twice now. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this guide. That is the brand new Roblox Pressure Expedition Operation Heartburn. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more pressure videos in the future. And I'll see you guys in the next video.